Several roadways in Portland rendered impassable following heavy rainfall. Several roadways in Portland have been rendered impassable following heavy rainfall. Some of the roads are flooded, while others are being impacted by spills or landslides. Communication officer at the NWC, Natalie Bromfield, said a landslide has rendered the Cooper's Main Hill Road impassable. She said teams have been deployed to the affected areas. Ms. Bromfield said work continued on the section of the Bago Ridge Main Road which broke away at the weekend.
We have gotten reports of roadways that have been impacted by the rains that are still ongoing in Portland. The roadway west versus Winds and the Rio Grande Valley, we've had reports of flooding earlier this morning. We have had reports of the hospital road in Port Antonio being heavily silted, as well as a landslide that has made the Coopers Hill Road impassable. So we have mobilized contractors to clear as soon as they are able to do so. And the rains continue. So we are in the process of getting these roadways restored at least to single lane. But until the rain has stopped, we will not be able to fully clear these corridors. Bago Ridge remains the same. It is a breakaway. The road remains impassable. The emergency solution is not something that is going to happen right away. Right now, the area is it's raining, as I mentioned earlier, so the area would still be saturated, and whatever solution is going to be done there would have to be done once that area is maybe once the rains have stopped and we're able to fully assess and to have that area reconnected. So right now, we are not able to move because of the continuing rains. However, we are hoping to have a solution started within the next week or so. Depending on the weather, it is a solution that would most likely include the building of some structure. So it is not something that is going to be done right up. In terms of the timeline, we wouldn't be able to give a specific timeline because of the continuing rain.
PNP calls for Mapen mayor to step down. The People's National Party is urging Mayor of Mapen, Joe Williams, to resign from his post following the party's victory in Friday's by-election in Inalton Division. Speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, PNP President Mark Golding stated that it is the right and proper course of action for Williams, as the PNP's win resulted in a tie in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation and the party has the popular vote. The right and proper principal thing is for the existing mayor to step down and to allow democracy to prevail and to have the PNP councillors choose a mayor. That is a position that we believe is correct, he stated. However, Golding did not divulge whether the PNP would be pursuing legal actions against Williams. The PNP's Delroy Dawson claimed that Inalton Division polling 1,646 votes to defeat the Jamaica Labour Party's Suzette Barrett, who received 1,592 votes. However, Mayor Williams told reporters last week that changes nothing. According to the law, nothing will change. If it was a general election parish council, then that would figure. But in these circumstances, no. Once the mayor is appointed, the mayor will continue his mayorship. The only way it would change unless you have no confidence vote and someone shift from the JLP to the PNP, he noted. Section 16 of the Local Governance Act 2016 outlines that a mayor may be removed from office after the expiration of 12 months from the date of the election, and a motion supported by a majority of all members of the council. Fatal feud. Fear and uncertainty certainly gripped communities in a section of Walton Park Road in St. Andrew, where 5 men were shot to death moments after the murder of a young man on Monday evening. The first man killed was identified as 26-year-old David Manor. The identities of the other victims, except for Robert Henry, were not released up to press time. The reality of having 6 people murdered in their midst in less than 24 hours had shaken relatives of the deceased and residents who on Tuesday expressed anxiety about the future of their community, which has been plagued by gang violence. Responding to the multiple killings, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, along with Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Horace Chang and Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake, visited the community, issuing a stern warning to killers. The persons who committed this act, mark my words, you will be found and you will either meet your judge or meet your maker. Anyone who commits these acts, the police will target you, focus on you. We will bring our investigation capabilities to bear, and we will find you, and you will face justice, he stated. He also announced that the government has increased to 30 million from 25 million, a special pool of funds that will serve to reward people who come forward with information leading to the arrest of perpetrators of mass killings. Reporters were told that David was shot dead about 7:30 p.m. at his shop at 75 Lane. His mother Marcia, whose right leg is amputated, was puzzled as to why anyone would want to sniff out the life of her well-mannered, promising son, who was a budding music artist. Amid her grief, she recounted for the Prime Minister the chain of events leading to the murder of her son, who had spent 1 year at the G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport before dropping out to pursue a career in music. According to the mother, she heard when a male voice shouted, "Serve," and her son went to the shop at the front of the yard. I heard when the door pull and open, and him come out. When he came out, I heard blow, blow. I said to myself that it sounded like somebody got shot. I went to the window and said, "David, David," and he didn't answer. I began to wonder if he was shot because it sounded like gunshot. I called my son's friend and told her to go over to the shop and look if she saw him. She said, "Auntie, him lay down in a pool of blood," she stated. I don't know what could have caused that. David was born here, and if you walk on the main road to the bottom of the lane, I guarantee you that nobody has anything bad to say about my son. He was a peacemaker, and I'm not taking up for him because he's my son," said the mother, who revealed that in May this year, her husband was shot dead and her first son was killed last December. "My husband got 5 gunshots. He was a security guard at Pembroke Hall Primary School. He spent 17 years at this school and 10 years at Tarrant High School. The police have been investigating his killing, but up to now, it is a mystery death," she told the Prime Minister. She lamented the current state of her neighboring, saying, "The community is going down with crime and violence. It may look like crime and violence is not going on, but things are going on. Things are going on between the people of Top Waltham and down here, but because I am old, they are not going to tell me about it." Meanwhile, an older brother of Henry, who was one of the 5 men shot dead at a bar in Isha Avenue, which is located less than 300 meters from 75 Lane, in what is believed to have been a reprisal for David's killing, said none of the victims were involved in any conflict. He described the multi-killing as senseless. "My brother was drinking a special, and the men just walk up. People said the man was killing earlier and that it was a reprisal, but they can't just come and see 5 innocent men and kill them. They must know who they are in war with. None of the men who were killed are involved in war. My brother did labor work, and he's the father of a daughter," the man told reporters. Holness offered his sympathy and condolence to the relatives of the deceased. He said the incident was clearly gang-related and sought to give assurance that the government is working hard to deal with gangs. For too long, communities like these have offered safe haven for gangs. They don't see them as a problem. They see them almost like a social organization, a club, or a friends group. They are not realizing that among them are persons who are armed and persons whose only purpose is to use the safe haven in the community and the friendship bond they have formed to extort, do lottery scamming, sell drugs, and other illegal activities, he stated. They take over here and take cover elsewhere, and they have protection. More than that, they have access to any army of men who they can influence to commit illegal acts. The implications of this are when the gangs have conflict over simple things like a proceed of crime. These result in these conflicts through the use of violence. I don't know the circumstances beyond the death of David. It is still being investigated. There are several theories, but one thing we can certain of is that it is gang-related activity and it has resulted in multiple deaths. We are monitoring it closely. We will get all those affected. Those responsible will be brought to justice, Holness stated. He said he has given a policy directive that cases of multiple victim violence must be dealt with specially. "We are going to make the necessary change in law to deal with them. We consider them acts of terror, and we are examining the law to see what are the penalties and what are the deterrents can be placed in the law to prevent criminals and criminal-minded people in gangs from committing these kinds of acts. In the meantime, from an operational perspective, the police can mobilize resources to deal with the problem. Commissioner Blake said the Jamaica Constabulary Force will be very stringent in its response to what occurred on Monday. I am told that the victims are non-combatants. These were innocent citizens playing a game of domino, which everyone should be able to do, he stated.
When the Cherry Tree Lane incident occurred, we had put up a $25 million reward fund. We have increased that reward fund to $30 million. That fund has been repurposed to deal with any of these incidents that occur, any of these multiple victim violent incidents that occur. Any resident, any citizen, anyone who has any information that is valuable to us in leading to the arrest or giving us information that would lead to the degrading of the gangs, that information would be obviously treated with the care to protect your identity and your security, but you can also benefit from a reward from this fund. So if you have information, let us know. Please tell us. Whilst the police have not definitively concluded in this specific instance that it is a gang-related matter, from what we are seeing so far, it is highly likely that it is a gang-related matter. The challenge, of course, is that the communities that are involved may not necessarily identify the players as being involved in a gang, because by and large, the community members would not be necessarily aware of the intricacies and details as to how these gangs operate.
Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.